Hey guys, this is Dave with Audio Wins. Today I'm going to be reviewing my first ever earbud. Of course, it's not the first earbud I've owned, but it is my first time reviewing one. And the earbud we're going to be taking a look at is the Dunu Alpha 3, which is Dunu's flagship earbud. Now, obviously, since there's a 3 following the Alpha, that means this is not Dunu's first Alpha earbud, but it has been nearly 10 years since the release of the original Alpha. And I don't ever recall actually hearing about an Alpha 2. I did try to search that out, but to no avail. So I don't think that version ever made it to production, at least not on a significant scale. Now, as I said, this is my first time reviewing an earbud, and I have my reasons for kind of avoiding this style of earphone, which I will talk about in the sound review portion of the video. But Dunu obviously stepped back and has taken quite a bit of time to work through some of the challenges this style of earphone presents. And they must feel that the Alpha 3 is improved significantly enough to bring it to market. And again, it's been a while since I've even heard an earbud, and I have to say, I think Dunu has made some significant progress because the Alpha 3 kind of caught me off guard and surprised me. And again, I will share more about that, but first, let's take a look at what's included with the Alpha. Of course, we have the earbuds with an attached cable. The cable is available in both 3.5 and 4.4 terminations. It also comes with the same case that's included with the new Falcon Ultra, which I really do like a lot. And then of course they include 2 different types of sponge covers, one for bass and then one for a more balanced sound. And then of course they also include a cleaning tool. As for the price, specifications, and design, the Alpha 3 comes in at $79 and has a large 14.2 millimeter dynamic driver with an LCP composite diaphragm and independent suspension. These are vented, but for whatever reason, I'm assuming it's aesthetics, they did not want the vents on the backs of the shells, so they hid them in the tips of the arm that the shell's mounted on. And again, I don't know if that served any acoustic purpose or if it was just for aesthetics, but from an aesthetics perspective, I do think it does look really clean. And I really do like the shadow print style design with the logo on the back of the shell. And as for the cable, of course, this is Dunu, so when it comes to cable quality and design, it's always top notch in my opinion, even with their less expensive products, and this is no exception. And again, as I'd mentioned earlier, the cable is available in both 3.5 and 4.4. You just have to choose which one you want on checkout. They also have a new case, again, which this is the same one that's included the Falcon Pro. It is on the larger side, which is great in terms of storage space, although some might feel that it's a little too big for the pocket or even just for travel in general. I don't mind it because I usually keep mine in a carry bag when I travel. And then lastly, I do love the case design. The color and texture of the material they chose looks really, really clean. And it really feels good to the touch as well. But again, when it comes to aesthetics, Dunu always just kills it. And this whole package, from the earbud and cable design to the case, accessories, again, this is no exception. Okay, let's talk about the sound of the Alpha 3. So there are several reasons I've never really cared for earbuds, but the main reason is the typical issues earbuds have with extension with both the low sub frequencies and the treble. So their lack of sub bass, and then on the other end, their lack of treble extension. And now, based on my very limited knowledge of acoustic engineering and sound wave behavior, my guess is the bass deficiencies might be partially to blame on their inability to provide a proper seal because they just kind of rest in your ear. Unlike IEMs that are inserted into your ears, of course, those can provide a complete seal. And then on the treble side, I think the challenge for me has been trying to maintain a proper angle, because if I get the angle just right, I can sometimes achieve decent treble and even upper treble levels. But then the challenge is keeping the earbuds from moving around, which that can be kind of annoying. And while I do feel that Dunu has made significant advancements in overcoming some of those challenges, I did still find myself having some of the same frustrations, and I still feel that earbuds can't really compete with IEMs in terms of overall sonic performance. That being said, Dunu has closed the gap significantly with the introduction of the Alpha 3. But just to dive into the sound a little deeper, the Alpha 3 has what I would consider to be a mild V-shaped signature, with the focus being on the mid bass and the mid treble. So we know this is a dynamic driver, and the Alpha 3 definitely delivers dynamics, especially when it comes to bass. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever experienced this level of bass dynamics in slam with an earbud before, nor have I experienced this level of overall bass quality in an earbud. Now, of course, like I said, it doesn't deliver great extension, so it is lacking sub bass, but as earbuds go, this is undoubtedly the best bass I've heard overall from an earbud. And I have to say, that was one of the things that initially caught me off guard. Now, as you move into the mid bass and lower mids, another area I felt was lacking was in lower mid detail, which is an indicator of bass bleed. So there is some warmth that, while it delivers really nice note weight and a nice sense of richness to vocals and instruments, it can also introduce some muddiness, and again, it reduces some of that low mid texture and clarity. So you do have a little bit of a trade-off in that regard. Now, I'm usually okay with that trade-off as long as the overall mid-range presentation maintains a reasonable level of clarity, which the Alpha does. And that clarity only increases even more as you move into the upper mids and mid treble. And the mid range is usually where the earbuds can perform quite well, but Dunu has really taken that to a whole new level, because like the bass, this is probably the cleanest instrument and vocal presentation I've ever heard in an earbud. And I'm also hearing really good levels of detail and clarity in the mid treble. But it's when we move into the upper treble that we notice some roll off and start to lose some of those micro details. And of course, that also means it's not going to necessarily provide a lot of sparkle and air. So the overall treble presentation definitely falls more into the smooth and relaxed category. And one more thing I want to point out before we move on to technicalities is how natural the Alpha 3 sounds for this type of tuning, at least in the upper mids and treble. Now, is it going to sound as natural as a well-tuned IEM or headphone? No. But for an earbud, somehow Dunu has worked some serious magic with this dynamic driver, and vocals and instruments have an uncharacteristically natural presentation. And this was also another characteristic that kind of caught me off guard during my initial first listen. And then finally, let's talk about its technical capabilities. We already know it's lacking micro details because of the lack of treble extension, and we also know it's lacking in lower mid detail. But much of that detail is restored in the mids and upper mids and mid treble. And again, it also gives you that really excellent instrument and vocal naturalness and timbre with a smooth treble presentation. Now, the soundstage is decently wide, but imaging can lack focus if you don't get the angles of the earbuds correct. But if you do get them just right, imaging is actually quite focused. And if you're just sitting down relaxing and you're not moving around too much, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with the earbuds moving around. But again, the proper angle is key. So to summarize my experience with the Alpha 3, my biggest takeaways were probably how impressed and surprised I was with its bass quality and its dynamics, but also how naturally it presented instruments and vocals for it having a V-shaped tuning. And the bottom line is, this is undoubtedly the best sounding earbud style earphone I've ever heard. Now, as to whether or not it gets my recommendation in terms of overall sonic performance, I still don't think the Alpha 3 can compete on the same level as, again, some of the better IEMs in this price range. That being said, if you don't like IEMs because you don't like the idea of putting things in your ear, but you do need something small and compact, unlike a full-size headphone, then I absolutely give the Alpha 3 a very strong recommendation. And again, I have to mention the build quality one more time because, again, Dunu never ceases to impress me when it comes to aesthetics and overall build quality. So the Alpha 3 has really good sound for an earbud, the best that I've heard, has excellent build quality, and the design is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. So that concludes my review of the Dunu Alpha 3. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you like my content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would please like this video, please share this video. I hope you have an awesome day.